Hey, good evening, everybody. It's your boy Eric Buck, and right now we got Get Off My Lawn Live Sports Edition. You see, I'm here, but you also see the man himself, the man I call the sports guru, the man with the sports information plan, my dude Hugh Lee. What's going on, Hugh?
What's going on, E-Man? There's a lot of exciting stuff happened, man. And sports, man.
Absolutely, it's another good
Thank
day in
you
sports,
for
y'all.
that.
We got to get into it, but we're gonna take this short little break, and then we're gonna get the show started. Among which we're gonna tell you the new name of this show. That's right, this show gonna have a name all its own. We're gonna get into that and how we came to get to that, and all our sports news for the day. Right after this break. Hold on, we got Israel in the house. Hold on, Israel, don't go nowhere, my guy. We about to go hit this commercial break. We about to get the show jumping off. All right. So while we doing a little break, tell a friend, tell a family member. Let them know that the new sports show in town is here, and we ready
Yes, sir.
to get in.
Go, solo.
So that being said, let's do it, y'all. What's up, everybody? Eric Buckner here. You know Miss EB, Young Easy, Eric Buck, all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm here to kick it with y'all about this little podcast I've been doing. I talk trending topics. I talk about the stuff we as people need to talk about. I talk about some things actually that people kind of want to shy away from because we got to have these discussions, folks. That's how we get better. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, hold on. Yeah, so anyway, I do it Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. You can check it out on Facebook, on YouTube. It's a good show. I say get into it. Yeah, you want to know the name of the show? You said, hold on. Hey, you, get off my lawn. Yeah, anyway, that's the name of the show, by the way. Get off my lawn. Check it out Tuesdays, 8:30 p.m. Let me go handle this. Hey, what up, y'all? We back and we ready to do the show. So here's the thing, people. As y'all know, usually when I'm doing an extra show like this, it's my sports edition or extra edition based on what's going on. This we definitely talk some sports. Hey, Miss Pat, what's going on? So that being said, people, this is the show that is going to be from now on because this is no longer an extra edition. This show got a name all its own. And y'all want to know what that name is? Without further ado, we about to introduce it to you. The name of this show from this point forward will be known as Game Time Audible. Game Time Audible. We calling it this show, and it's a special reason why we came to this conclusion as to this is why the name should go, because one day we sit here kicking it, me and my guy Hugh, like we always do, and
Yes, sir.
this brilliant idea popped into my man's head because most of this is his genius right here. Let him know. Tell him why you came up with Game Time Audible, Hugh.
We want to drop Game Time Audible, man, because we're going to also talk about the topics that we're going to base on the show. But we might see something in the show as far as on the phone. We always seeing ESPN and Sports Center flashing across our phone or any sports news. If it's something that's very important, it needs the attention, we will call an audible.
Yeah, so in other words, folks, what's going to happen is because we constantly going to be watching what's going on live. My man's going to have the TV on. I'm going to have the ESPN sports picker here and whatnot. And if something happened right then and there, we're going to jump into it. So when we get to that part, y'all, this is the key part. When we get there, we're going to be like, hold on. Because back in the day when you're the quarterback and you don't like what you're seeing from that defense, you get to call in the audible. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be like, Omaha, kill. Like that dude Peyton Manning used to do back in the day and change it on up right there on the spot. So, yeah, we always going to have our topics that we start off with, but if something good jumping off at that moment, or more importantly, if one of y'all in the comments see something that y'all want to talk about and it look a little bit better than what we talking about, we're going to jump into your topic. So we're going to call the audible and get it in. Thus, Game Time Audible. So that's how we're going to run it because remember, this is my show, this Hugh show, but it's also y'all's show. So we want to hear from y'all as we talk about these topics. We also want to hear about the sports that y'all like. We want to know y'all favorite teams. We want y'all to be an interactive part of the show. So if you're a Steeler fan, like my people Leah right here, and then you got Miss Pat in Baltimore, so as you get to talking about the topics, you want to know something about your team or let people know about your team, go ahead and jump in the comments and let us know. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't gonna talk about it after what happened.
You said what now, Hugh?
They're gonna talk about Pitt after what happened. They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
I see, and that's where the rivalries come in. Okay, here we go. I already know who this is. Well, you see, my Lakers are killing OKC right now. Well, all right, let's get right into it then. Let's call that audible. Call it out, Hugh.
Yeah, man, I'm looking at the game right now. I had to check it out, man. I feel bad what they did yesterday, but we ain't gonna get off into that. But yeah, they putting the shellacking on them boys right now, man. I'm looking at it, and they've been beating everybody like that, though. But it's not really as bad as I thought it would be. But they kind of go up on them right now. It's 31-23.
Okay, I got 37-25 Lakers here on this end. And yeah, here's the thing. Remember, the Lakers
I have to refresh it.
Yeah, remember the Lakers got the best record in the league right now at 12-3. So it should come as no surprise that they putting this work in on folks.
Yeah, I just looked at the score and I had to refresh my screen. They disrespectful, man. With Montrezl Harrell, I think that's just like that was the worst thing that could have happened to anybody because they was already strong. When they lost Dwight, I was like, I wasn't really feeling like they really lost much. When they Montrezl Harrell, man, not only was it disrespectful to the league in general, but they disrespected the Clippers, man, because that was one of their enforcers, man. To take another team enforcer and put them on your team as an enforcer, man, that was ugly, man. And that's why I don't see nobody really stopping them right now.
Yep. So yeah, my guy Pastor Tillman, Antonio, talking about his Lakers. You know, he a big Lakers fan. He out there in LA. So yeah, let's talk about his team a little bit here. Now, of course, you know, LeBron, it's like Father Time ain't quite caught up with him yet. He's still in his prime. He's still dunking on clowns. I know you seen last night, man, the one play where he basically was in the middle of the game, messing around with his guys on the bench. One of them was like, $100, you don't hit that three. My man shot the three and turned around and walked off. But before he did that, he turned to the bench and was like, yeah, it's a bet. Swish. Come on, man. Now. He clowning like that at 36, 17 plus years in the league later? For real, man? You got it like that, LeBron? And,
man.
Right. And another person that's been getting off, your boy. You know who I'm talking about. Young Steph.
Man.
Lighten him up, man.
Yeah, he back to his regular form, man. At first, he seemed shaky when he first played the first few games. But when he dropped that 62 on the Clippers, because at first, remember what I told you, E? I should have been a sore loser, man. I said, man, this game getting out of hand. You know me, if a game go up, if they go up by 15, I'm like, I'm going to bed because this game ain't going to go, it ain't going to go the right way.
Right.
You know, I went to bed, woke up, man, Steph had 62, and they won the game, you know.
I mean, the thing is, you know, I actually went back and saw the highlights, you know, because I tapes the game sometimes, watch them at night when I can't sleep. Man, it's like, dude, get the glow, dog. You remember the Last Dragon? He get that Leroy on, and I swear it's like he shoot it, and he ain't even looking at the rim. It's just like,
he get that light skin for
I ain't never seen nobody score like that. And keep in mind, I grew up in the era of Jordan and whatnot. You know, there had these moments where he was unstoppable, man, but it wasn't to that extent to where it'd be like, I'm just gonna shoot where I'm at, and it's going through the nets, no rim, all just the wettest jumper.
Oh,
he's been doing it for years now. It's crazy,
man. Most consistent jumper I've ever seen, man. And his father, Dale, wasn't as pure as him. And he was one of the purest shooters we seen in the 90s, man. But wow, it's like, man, what tapes are these kids looking at, man, or videos, man, for them to just stop like that, shoot anywhere, man. A lot of them guys got that in them, man. And my man's Damian Lillard got that clutch gene too. But it's like nobody can shoot it like Steph, man. He just a natural, man. He's a natural assassin when it comes to shooting.
Yeah, okay. Let's jump into some of these comments. Yeah, we see you. We see you, Brother Tillman. You know, we talk about the Lakers and NBA and whatnot. We call it the audible. Like I said, we're going to always set out with a certain thing, but in the end, y'all jump in. We want to address what y'all talking about. We are tonight. I love Steph Curry. I also am a Raisins fan. Okay, yeah, we're going to get into that in a minute. We call that audible, but hold on. Before we go there, we got to talk about the top news of the day. Yeah, because of course I'm taking my nap. I wake up. I see my ESPN thing went off. Okay, breaking news. What we got? James Harden traded. What? Where they trading to? The Nets. Oh, sookie now. It's about to be on. So when you seen it, what did you think, Hugh?
I wasn't really shocked at all, man. It didn't surprise me because of the comments he made last night. You don't do that to your teammates, man. I was like, man, you're not going to be that disrespectful, man. I've never seen from LeBron in his Cleveland days, man, when he had no weapons, and Michael Jordan when he first started out with the team before he, ended up being a dynasty, winning those 6 titles. You don't never call out your team like he did, man. And it was just a disgrace, man. And when that happened, I said, yeah, he being a diva. And I think when you do the diva things, you got the easy way out. And they gave him that, man. When you go on TV and say that my team is trash, you expected that, man. That's what he wanted. He basically did what he had to do to get to where he wanted to go, man. It reminded me of the Carmelo thing when he was like, you know what? I'm not even going to play, man, unless you take me to the Knicks, and I'm not going to sign an extension until I go to the Knicks. That seems like now they are the ones who can speak with the strongest voices, man, which is good, but then it's bad in a way because the players are starting to take over the game and make decisions for themselves without, management. They like, I can do what I want to do because we get y'all paid.
Right. I mean, because, let's get into a little further. I mean, you see Pat Tillman saying, I'm going to hate seeing Jared Allen in Cleveland. Because basically he's about the whole deal. So let's break it down. See, what happened was this, y'all. Last night, Rockets played. They got worked, okay? They got beat up. Right. So, of course, they do the press conference after the game. And at that point, James Harden decides, I'm going there. This Rockets team, we just ain't good enough. We ain't doing what we need to do to win. We don't have the talent. It just ain't going to work. I love the city of Houston, but I can't work with this. And it all just kind of hit from there because they talked to him. Then soon after they talked to a couple of teammates, in particular, DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall. And they basically saying, okay, well, it's only been 9 games. You got to give it a chance, but you got to put the work in if you want this thing to work. I mean, basically, they right there in the press conference just stabbing each other in the back, like boom, 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 boom. So then fast forward to this morning. Basically, the reports came out of Houston that he not with Houston right now. Harden, he off somewhere. He done dipped out. And that's how it's gonna be. So at that point, it's like, okay, now we got a problem. At this point, he didn't called it. Like, I'm not going back. I'm not playing for y'all no more. So soon after that, next thing you know, boom, he traded. And what was the trade about? Okay, so basically, Houston Rockets trade him and a 2nd-round pick, okay? Basically, that's a throw-in. That's probably just to make the monies all add up. But keep in mind, this ends up being a 4-team trade, y'all. So the Rockets, they end up getting Victor Oladipo. Now, here's the thing. He's there in Indiana. And you like, how'd he get in this deal? Last night, or I think it was a couple nights ago, he wasn't even playing. He's injured right now. But in the same token, you didn't hear no chirpings out of Indiana that Oladipo wanted out. So is this one of those things like, okay, well, we ain't going to be able to sign you anyway. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and cut you loose. Or was it, some things behind the scenes that we didn't know about in Indiana? Because, we done learned that Indiana ain't always the best place to be. We learned that from your boy who ended up going to the Clippers.
Yeah. But at least he was respectful about it if that was the case, too, because him being quiet got him to where he needed to go. He kept it behind the scenes. Harden always had issues, but then, his issues was bigger than what happened. It was just a tipping point last night. I feel like they was trying to cater to him when they brought Wall and Boogie Cousins over there. They had a lot of good pieces over there. Christian Woods, I was upset, because I felt like Detroit was going to be a good young up-and-coming team. And for him to leave, I was like, man, I didn't like that. But then that was building up the Rockets. But I just felt like he wasn't comfortable there. But when you're not happy, that's the thing, man. It just got to the point where he was unhappy. They tried to handcuff him because he just recently signed a deal not so long ago. And they like, hey, man, if you felt that way, you wouldn't have signed that deal. You knew better. But
Right.
He did what he had to do to get out. But I feel like Oladipo, man, still hurt, but he'll contribute though, man. He definitely will on that team because he always give it his all, man. There's a lot of pieces going to other teams too. I feel like will strengthen and help those teams. But
Right.
man,
Well, hold on, Hugh, before you dig some more, let's talk about the whole deal. I said the Rockets, they got Oladipo, they get Dante Exum. People that might know about him, he basically the kid out of Australia that he was with Utah. He didn't kind of bounced around a little bit, so now he's with the Rockets. You get Rodens Kurkus, I believe that's how you pronounce the name. That's clearly to make the salaries add up. I don't know. I know nothing about that guy. And then Houston gets the key part to this deal for them: 4 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps. Now I'm assuming that all these picks are not coming from the Nets. Remember, the Nets, they gave up several picks over the years between the whole when they had the big ticket and Pierce. They gave up a lot of picks for those picks for trade. And then of course to get Kyrie and your boy on board, they had to give up some trade and swap stuff in that. So that gave away a couple of those picks from them as well. So basically they brought these other teams in so they could get the first picks that they needed to basically add into what they got with Harden, So there's that for Houston. So they got 4 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps. In other words, I guess it goes down to, okay, our picks suck, yours don't, we want your pick. I believe that's how they go. And then the Cavaliers, who basically just, I don't even know how they got in this deal. But in the end, they got Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. They 2 good complementary players, I think, but I don't think that makes Cleveland no better or no worse in the end. They still going to be an also-ran lottery pick when it's all said and done. What you think, Hugh?
I definitely think so, man, because I just feel like besides the first-round picks, it wasn't really nothing there, And I like Oladipo, man, and some of the guys who was in there. But the scary part about him is he's not healthy, man. That guy does not stay healthy for some reason. But when he plays, he's great. But like you said, man, this is like a lot of complimentary pickups, man. I do like Jared Allen, and I like him and what he brings to the game. But I just don't feel like it was enough of that man who can go out there and damn near score 50 points a night, average 30 on the regular. But I feel like after that, they was like, yeah, we got to do something, man, because it'll get worse, man. Because it got to the point where it probably would have been like the Scottie Pippen thing all over again, where he just would have sat out games and would refuse to play until he got what he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you see that press conference last night, you already know what it was at that point. He had checked out. I mean, if they hadn't traded him today, you wouldn't have seen him play until they did. So, but the way this deal was formed, this wasn't we made up this deal this morning. Clearly, they have been working behind the scenes to make this happen. I mean, we knew from the beginning of the season that he wanted to go play with his boys over there in New Jersey. / Brooklyn. But in the end, he got what he wanted. They got at least a comparable package. I don't think they fully got what they wanted, but they got something they could work with. And in the end, it's another example of the superstars running the league. I mean, what other league, what other major sports league in the country that the players themselves have that type of power to where they dictate who go where?
None.
Exactly. Okay, let's get into some of these comments. We can't forget about the people, man. They part of the show too. You're saying Dame, yeah, Dame Dollar. That's what Tillman is saying. Thank you, sir, brother Tillman. We got him talking about Harden and basically saying it's gonna be hard seeing, because keep in mind, Jared Allen is a decent player, but in the end, Cleveland just bad. I've seen Cleveland play a couple times now. They ain't no better or worse than they was last year, unfortunately. They did give up a lot to make them happy.
Yeah,
absolutely. The Rockets got whipped. Yeah, she must have seen the highlights of that one
yesterday, man.
Hey, Nisi, what's going on? Thanks for checking out the show. Yep, and so there's that. Okay, so yeah, we talking NBA. So here's the thing, y'all. We actually got little banners and stuff we put up, so y'all know what part of the discussion we into. So right now, we already talked about the James Harden trade. Let's go into jam sessions. In other words, this is the part of the show where we talk about some NBA stuff. But remember, we got to call that audible. We'll do that. So if y'all got some other stuff y'all want to talk about sports-wise, or got some comments in regards to what we're saying, y'all jump on in there. If it's jumping like that, we're gonna jump into that audible and kick it with y'all on what y'all talking about. So that being said, okay, let's go on to the NBA right now. As y'all said, we got it going on live, so we know what's going on out here. So if we got something interesting in regards to that, we're gonna jump into it. You see anything interesting jumping off in the NBA right now?
Man, I still looking at that Lakers game. It really got ugly now. They up 56-35, man.
Okay, well, I got one for you, Hugh. Let's talk about our boys. As in the boys that reside here in Detroit, the Pistons. Mm-hmm. As you see right now, it's the fourth quarter. They're getting worked 97-82. It's another bad do, people. It's another bad do. Bottom line is part of the schedule thing where you playing a lot of your rivalry teams back to back like that. This is like the third time the Pistons and the Bucks been playing in like 9 days, I think. And we got worked every time.
Every time.
It seemed like the same scenario. We start out all right with them for a quarter, and then Giannis decides he's not happy, and he decides to take over the game. And at that point, we drowning. Hold on, let me get into this right quick because we talked about this a little earlier, Hugh. Yeah, Brother Tillman wants to know what's up with Kyrie. Mm-hmm. We ourselves is wondering that. Now I know initially they were saying he has some type of family issue, but for whatever reason, he's just not playing. I mean, he's actually on the bench last time I checked, but he's not playing for some reason. They're not talking about any type of injury or anything he has. He's just going through some things. Kyrie, we didn't learn. He's kind of an interesting dude. When you believe the world is flat like that, you got your own kind of thought process. But you put up an interesting theory about what's going on with Kyrie. What did you say, Hugh?
I think it's more or less about after what happened, when they raided the Capitol building. I think that he didn't like that because, he's definitely anti-Trump. And he usually fight for his beliefs too, man, because it was just weird. It was from them having chemistry and just like beating the brakes off teams to him not playing. And they said to Steve Nash, talked to him and kept in touch with him. And they kept it basically in-house and was saying that it was personal reasons. But I think it was deeper than that. I definitely think he don't like what's going on right now in these United States of America. And I think that's his way he's protesting right now because personal reasons, that can even be a way of copping out and saying that and keeping it in-house. Like, well, man, it's just
hold on, Hugh. About to call on the audible right now, but first let me go here. Okay, what's your thoughts on the G League game in the bubble? We're gonna get to that. Hold that thought. I want to address this right here that Brother Tillman is saying. They caught Kyrie on video, man. What was he doing, Brother Tillman? They say they caught him dancing at a family party.
No mask.
So yeah, we got to get into that because of course, whether we like it or not, even on this show, it's that one elephant in the room that we always end up talking about these days and these times, and we got to get into it. COVID protocol. Now, keep in mind, it's 5 games this week alone in the NBA that's not being played and postponed due to COVID protocol. They say, in fact, that you got your man's Zion Williamson out tonight for protocol reasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that being said, that's going to be a key part to this season. But again, you one of the faces of the league, Kyrie. You should know better, bro. You can't be out here partying and basically causing full-blown super spreader issues. And you, in the same token, turn around and want to talk about Black Lives Matter and government issues and whatnot. You can't be that thoughtful on one end and so careless on the other. That's a bad dude.
Yeah, they caught that clown several times doing stuff on video with no masks at social gatherings, hanging out, doing things. And it's like, man, I don't really understand because, if he was, protesting the silent protest like he, like I thought, that'd be fine. But yeah, he was doing a lot of stuff, man, uncharacteristically. And, social media and everything out there like that, man, you got to be careful what you're doing. And then, the whole COVID protocols, man. It's like you got to take into consideration.
Right, because keep in mind, they've upped the protocols since they've started to have this issue with missing games. Because in the end, it's about that cheddar. They don't want to be missing all these games. So now they're telling the players that you definitely gonna have to consolidate yourself, particularly when you go on the road. You need to confine yourself to the hotel you in and not be out and about. During the games now, they want to see all the players have their mask on when they're not in the game. Period. A lot of that's not going on. Also, it's time to stop swapping hands or whatnot. We back to fist bumping and elbowing. Because in the end, we're trying to keep the games going. We got to keep the money flow. If y'all messing up, because clearly we about to address this issue, Meech, because this ties into what you're saying. The first thing I thought when they had the league start back up, like, okay, so yeah, they're doing the bubble thing again, huh?
Yeah.
Not doing no bubble. Why is that? Clearly it worked. Everybody would say, they had those few little incidents, but even still, they dealt with that right. Okay, but you went out, you got to go sit out and isolate for a while. Now you can come back in, and that worked out for them. But this year, basically, everybody wanted to have their personal freedoms, and now you see the results of that. But okay, back to this question with Meech now. What are your thoughts about the G League's gaming in the bubble? Now, see, here's the killer thing about it. On the one hand, you got the NBA, the professional pro league, decided not to do a bubble, but basically the G League, which is their minor league affiliate, still doing bubble protocol. So, of course, then let's just say because you got what's going on, like take the Celtics, for instance, that's been canceling games left and right. Now, in the ideal world, you should say, okay, let's bring up some people from the G League and make us even while these other people sit out and go ahead and play. But now you're bringing those people from the bubble where they was nice and safe to y'all Jeremy behinds. So then, of course, they get the protocol that throws off the G League. So these things going to end up affecting one another in due time. Because keep in mind, the NBA been making teams play with just, as long as you got 8 healthy players, not in the protocol, whatnot, they making them play. So that's been to disadvantage of some teams like the Sixers. They've been complaining about that a lot because they didn't basically work with 8 for a good part of the week or two now. And in the end, some games they make out all right. Some games they getting worked. But instead of canceling the games, they're making them play. What you think, Hugh?
I don't like the fact, the G League, man, I think they're doing an excellent job for being in a bubble still. This was really like shame on you for the players because, a lot of the guys been complaining, man. A lot of them wasn't happy because, we heard about it last season in the bubble when most people wanted to be with their families and they felt isolated and they was in them rooms and they felt like they were secluded and they were going crazy. Most of them was losing their minds. They had to, suck it up. And then they started letting family come, to some of the games and do certain things, man. They were a little more lenient with it, but they didn't let everybody come to the games. But I feel like a lot of the guys are spoiled divas, just like you were saying, man, when they'll just pick and they'll choose if they want to play with a team or not. And that's why I think that went on, too, that a lot of them said they didn't want to be in a bubble and they want to have a little more freedom. And that's how everybody's spreading all these, COVID is so much COVID spreading now through the NBA, and they just need to do a better job than that. Because I felt like Adam Silver, I felt like he was a genius at first when they did the bubble. Nobody got sick. You haven't heard any issues like the NFL, and you wasn't hearing any issues with them. It was always a problem with the NFL, man. I thought the season wasn't going to go for long because of all the people who were out, and plus MLB had a lot of issues. I feel like the NBA did the right thing for their fan base and for each other, man, to protect the players. But this year, I feel like it's a little bit more reckless. And definitely, like you said, if they're going to the G League or if basically the G League players are coming and playing to fill in like replacements, you never know who could have it. They could go there and spread it, And when that spread, it spread like wildfire, man. Just don't feel like it's the right decision. And I know we were talking about George Hill, too. He said, if you guys feel that insecure about us kind of doing our everyday life and you want to seclude us and put us in the room and isolate us in the room, we shouldn't be playing the game at all.
And keep in mind, Joel Embiid, he had some comments about the COVID protocols as well. He basically feel like they're not doing a good job with it, and maybe they should consider other options. So yeah, he's not the only player to feel that way. Again, Brother Tillman saying they caught Kyrie in a Zoom call with the New York DA's office. He's lashing out for whatever reason. Like I said, it's deeper stuff going on with Kyrie Irving. Let's be clear on that. And I think all that'll come into light in due time. So in the end, it might be good that the Nets got Harden for the simple fact it may end up this being Harden and the big fella. Yes. Forgive me, y'all. I hate when I don't remember stuff, but sometimes you get sleepy, tired, and old, and your mind wanders and leaves you. You know what I'm saying? That's why I got my man, the sports guru, to have my back, baby.
And Durant been playing so lights out too, man.
It's like he wasn't like never really hurt, you know. Thank you.
Yes,
You're at a professional level. Thank you. I appreciate
thank
that.
you. Appreciate you.
He's also saying, in my opinion, the NBA came back too early. December 22nd
Yeah,
was way too early.
agree.
I agree. I mean, keep in mind, we all know that we had the vaccines coming and whatnot. So my whole thing was, since we were at that point, why not just wait till everybody could get properly vaccinated? You know, we can go back to watching the good old oldies versions of the sports and whatnot. And then around April and May, open everything back up. It'd be great if we had all the sports going at the same time, right when everything opened back up. Imagine you could start having little crowds there now, and you know you have baseball, basketball, football, hockey, all at the same time, and then in the middle of it, throw the Olympics in there. That would have been a great comeback for sports. But you know, again, cash considerations, folks. That's what that was
They
about.
brought out that cash. You
Yep.
know what happened too. That time, the 22nd when it started back, you know, I laughed because I looked into it because you know that the NFL makes double the money. Like if you pay for $100 ticket regularly to be in the front row of the regular game, you're gonna pay for 500 for Thanksgiving. I think they built up all that stuff for the NBA too to get ready for Christmas, man. And you know, those are the big games.
Right.
You know, the biggest spotlight because technically nobody else is playing on that day.
Yeah,
So that's why I think they did that. I think they want to get back before then to make their revenues because you know they probably hit and missed on a few things last year being in the bubble, and they didn't make as much money. And you know, I think that's what they did. It was more or less like you said. It was about the money. You know.
Right. Okay. Hold on. Let's address this comment here. Why is it that we have allowed the coin to dictate the decisions of an entire entity? Sports couldn't take a break. I was worried about the practices and such, but then when the players started contracting COVID, it seems no one cared only about the coin. And see, the thing is, Peach, it's not just like that in sports. I think society in general is like that as far as some of this COVID protocols go. In the end, particularly with the soon-to-be past administration, the whole thing was we not making no money. I know some of y'all getting sick and dying, but it's okay. We got to make this money.
Pretty much.
We got to take advantage of the fact that the other countries in the world are not making no money. We got to make the money. So, you know, shake it off. Just wear a mask. If not, don't want to, but go back to work. Put the kids back in school. Let the sports play. You know, the current president was a conduit for all of that. He wanted all that to go on. But you see the results. We got almost 400,000 people dead. We had the deadliest day in America in terms of the virus yesterday. Over 4,000 people died. 4,300 something to be exact. And in the midst of all that, we got to pay attention. And then, of course, let me address this. Remember, we talked about this yesterday, Hugh. Remember, when your team, go on, show your shirt. Show your shirt. Claim your team, bro.
Yeah, y'all know what that A mean, baby. Y'all know what that mean.
The Alabama Crimson Tide, you know, that's his squad, y'all. So you down with it, you ain't, go on and get on him. But anyway, the thing is, they won another championship. And of course, where the school is down there in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, they party. Huge crowd. Had to be a good 50,000 people. Super spreader event like no other. You ain't see hardly nobody no mask. They jumping around, the liquor flowing. Woo-wee! Whole bunch of young people. A lot of people gonna get sick and die off of that.
Unfortunately.
I don't wish it on them. I pray to God that ain't the case.
Absolutely.
That was not wise. And keep in mind, sports does breed these things. Because again, I get concerned now that we got the NFL playoffs that we're gonna get into in a minute. Most of these playoff games, they're starting to let the crowds in. And they supposed to be in their little socially distanced pod and whatnot and wear their masks, but it ain't going that way. You seen that Buffalo game last week.
It was shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. And cheering the beer and all that.
And you know, when they be having games before the game, they pregame harder than anybody at their tailgates, man. They be jumping off of vans onto tables. They be having drinks, and they have like a mosh pit, and they go crazy before their games.
And they say Buffalo got some of the best tailgaters in the league by far.
And just imagine after that game, and they won their playoff game after so long being out. Yeah, man, I could see a disaster waiting to happen. Let alone, man, depends on what happened coming up in our divisional round. But yeah, man, it's getting absolutely dangerous because those people were shoulder to shoulder, man. It wasn't even no distancing.
Right. I mean, it's a bad do all around. Okay, let's get these comments, y'all. Yeah, it's getting hot now. I got to take the hat off. Okay. How long do you think COVID-19 will have an effect on current and future sporting events? Now, that's a deep dive question right there, Israel.
Yeah.
I'm going to touch on it a bit. Right now, keep in mind, we already in January, the first couple weeks of 2021. They're already canceling other events here in Detroit. They already canceled the auto show and a little March Madness event they had planned here and a couple other things. I mean, because in the end, we look at long term, we already see that the vaccine rollout ain't quite where we need it to be. And, people getting more and more sick by the day, starting to level off here in Michigan, but we still got a lot of people popping up with the virus. And now they're talking about all these new strains. They saying this. Remember, there's the new strain that came out the UK. There's the one that came out of South Africa, they're saying. Now they're saying there's two that's coming out of here. One of them coming out of Ohio, they said tonight on the news. And then there's another one they studied. And these are like different mutations of the virus. So, again, we still not completely sure about these vaccines in terms of their full effect. And now we got other forms. Is that going to work with these vaccines? There's a lot of stuff that plays in effect here. So in the end, we might be getting these vaccines, and in the end, we might turn around and come up with some other stuff because that vaccine only works for them two forms of the virus. But these other two forms, no, we're going to get a whole different vaccine for that. It might get real ugly before it get better, honestly, Israel. And that's my concern. H2, what's up, baby? Good evening, good evening. I'm glad you was in the house. Thank you for checking out. Hope you enjoying the show. Okay, we got Meats back in here. He says, I agree, but people were looking at sports as their outlet to the pandemic, and it was a false start. Good choice of words there, Meats.
Right.
When the sports opened up, the people lost their minds. Absolutely, exactly what happened. Tailgating and limited crowds at the games is destroying ish. Agreed. Because like I said, that's the thing. If they could have just kept it to where, okay, let's play the games. The players are going to be in a safe little bubble type situations. Ain't going to be no crowd, but y'all can watch it on TV. Y'all can enjoy. And the thing was, they was actually making it fun by doing some of the things in the bubble, like having extra cameras and having people mic'd up so you can hear them talk during the game and stuff like that. Why couldn't you grow the game that way? Because some of those things I think you actually should implement post-pandemic. But in the same token, it wasn't bringing in the type of dollars that you wanted. So now you had to go out there and risk it. Not to mention the fact you had a leader that was approving this message. So that only fueled the flames. So, okay, hold on. Hey, what's going on? Israel saying hi to H2. And God help us if it comes to the super fans. Most of these fans are Trumponians, and their behavior shows it's identical. And keep in mind, look at some of the places that's allowing more crowds in their stadiums, particularly down there in SEC country. Down there in the South, where, as you know, it's very red for the most part. A lot of red state down there. So, of course, when you got, take that Tampa Bay game this weekend. It's probably be about 25 to 30,000 in attendance in Florida. That's got one of the worst COVID rates in the country. And again, think about going to a game itself and what it entails. You're not going to just sit there and be like, yeah, it ain't like a golf thing. Basically, you're going to the game. Yeah, do it. Pass the drink. Let's eat. I don't need this mask right now. I'm doing all this. It's setting people up to literally fail. And you know how this COVID thing is working now. Most of the people that's contracting COVID are asymptomatic. So they don't have no symptoms. They have no idea. They go in here. They go to that game. They come home to their family. And a week later, the whole family got it. And it might be that one person in the family that couldn't afford to get it. And now here they are in the hospital. And you living here with regrets. It's like every other night we get on the news. Woe is me. I wish I would have listened. No. Bad dude. Okay, hold on. Pastor Tillman saying amen. Hello. H2 saying hello to Israel. But bottom line, folks, is we're enjoying our sports, true enough. And we're gonna continue to talk about it, but we are mindful of the fact that we still deep in the midst of the pandemic, and it's not going to be over as quickly as people think now that we got the vaccine, because we need time to implement the vaccine. We need time for the vaccine to get out there into the general population, because right now we having trouble with just the people that's set up to take it first. When they get to the point where the most of the people that's eligible to take it, and they don't have things properly set up, that's where the problem really gonna come in. That's why you hope Joe Biden actually working on these things behind the scenes right now, so that when he comes in next week, boom. Now let's get these plans going right away. Let's go. Okay, hold on. There comes a point, regardless what else everybody else is. Hold on. Rewind. There comes a point, regardless what everybody else is doing. So protect you and your family. Absolutely. Because in the end, yes, I enjoy my sports very much. But right now, I'm going to enjoy my sports right here in the safety and comfort of my home. There will be a day when we can go watch the sports live again. I'm looking forward to that day. But right now, it just ain't smart. It's not. With that being said, y'all, we're about to take a commercial break. We're going to switch gears. When we come back, we're going to talk some NFL football for a minute. Talk about these playoff games and see what's going on with that. This is the new show, Game Time Audible. That dude is Hugh. I'm E. We'll be back.
Hello. It's another glorious day, my T-Sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comfort together because it's time to dish tea. And your dish tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
This is the Nighthawk Network. Our voices for our people. Nighthawk Network.
Hey, bitches. Wait a minute, hold on, Miss Autograph. Hold on. Yeah, it's about that time, but it's about that time for the remix with your boy Derek. Let's talk about it.
Coming to you live from the iconic city of Baltimore. This is Hey Bitches, the remix with your boy Derek, part of the Nighthawk Network. Nighthawk Network, our voices for our people.
Nikki.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Nikki. Nikki.
We're not asking for your permission. We're not seeking your approval. We're claiming what's ours in the name of our ancestors. We are their answered prayers. This is more than a movement. This is a revolution. Black innocence. What are yours today?
What's up, y'all? We are back. This is the new show, Game Time Audible. That is my man Hugh Lee, the sports guru himself, and it's your boy EB. And right now we get into a little different subject here. We're gonna talk the NFL playoffs right now. Hold on, we got a comment though. With the NFL, I'm looking forward to the combine, but what will it look like this year? Will that be in the bubble? I really think that depends, Meech, on how far we are in the implementation of the vaccines at that point. Keep in mind, the combine usually is around, April-ish or so? I think at that point, that's when we're really going to be into the general population getting the vaccines. And the thing is, that's going to be a requirement for people that are doing the combines and the athletes. They're already talking about how they feel that the Olympians should kind of jump the line and get their vaccines now so they can properly train and not worry about it so they can hold the Olympics. Because, again, money calls and cash considerations come into play with that. They already put the Olympics off once already. It's supposed to be going on in July, and they wanted to make sure that it happens. All right, hold on. Again, let me get into this. I thought the U.S. government bought enough vaccines to cover almost everybody who was eligible to get it. Do you think that the sports leagues are going to make it mandatory to have everyone who plays sports to get vaccinated in order to play when it is time for sports to become active again? Here's the thing. Right now, I say the only way that happens is if it comes to a point where they start to make it mandatory for Joe Six-Pack. If they start to make it mandatory at some of these jobs and things that we work at, then that absolutely will make it mandatory for them, because in the end, that's the big money. We the little small change. They the big money. So I could see a scenario where not only do they make them take it, but they skip the line. In other words, before all the general population people take it, they taking it first. I can see that happening. What you think, Hugh?
I definitely feel like that's a smart thing to do. I don't know right now if they're going to do it, but I feel like the best thing possible right now is for them, the Olympians, of course, to be the first ones to take it so they can train to get everything together and do what they need to do. And as far as Meech's point, too, what I believe this year, it's simple, man. Do I think they're going to do the combine? Some of them may, a lot of them might not this year. I'm thinking this year is going to be more of a year where they want to be secluded. They don't want to be out in the public like that, because there's a whole lot of guys that's in there, man. You got every position, like the top people at their position, at the invites that comes in and go to the combine. What I believe this year, we're going to see more pro days, I definitely do. I think it's going to be more like you might have at least 40 to 50 people in the combine. That's still a lot, but I still feel like a lot of guys are just going to say, hey, you know what? I know what I need to do. They told me what I need to do to strengthen my, draft status and to go up the board. So what I'll do is, if you're one of the top players anyway, the 50 invited to the actual NFL draft, you're going to have a input or insight of what's going on as far as what's going to be at the combine. All you got to do is focus on those things, get yourself together, stay in the best of shape, and prepare to be at your pro day. You got to do well on your pro day, though, because I feel like the combine, what was so special about it is a lot of the guys get a chance to show their talent. A lot of them don't have to do a pro day after the, combine. And I feel like this year is going to be more or less like people are going to train and work on it at their pro day. But I don't think it's going to be a lot of people that's going to show up at the combine this year. I'd be surprised if they do, honestly.
Yeah, and like I said, the pro day thing actually makes sense for those of you not familiar with the concept. Basically, it's where a couple athletes will be from the same school and decide, okay, instead of going and doing all those extra workouts at the combine, we're just going to work out at our school and whatnot, and then have all the reporters and the agents and all that come out at the school. So that way you can, in a more controlled environment with less people around and whatnot, and you can basically do your thing. So yeah, I completely get that. But okay, let's talk about some of these playoff games. We got we basically down to the final 8 in the NFL, y'all. So we got 4 games. We got 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. So let's break them down right quick, shall we? Okay, that first game we got the Rams and we got the Packers in Green Bay. So what you thinking of that one?
Man, that's going to be hard to beat Green Bay in the frozen tundra, man. That's no joke. Man, we probably see like 12 feet of snow, man.
Now, it is forecast that it's some snow in the forecast for Sunday in Green Bay. So you always know that in the frozen tundra, that definitely is a fact. So absolutely.
I definitely feel like that's going to be a good one, because you got like the number 1 offense against the number 1 defense, man. They might not be first, but then they're close to first in every ranking, man. Definitely with the kid there, Darius Williams. A lot of people sleeping on Darius Williams, the other cornerback who's on the opposite side of Jalen Ramsey, man. People try to expose him. You see what happened to Russell Wilson, man, when he tried to throw that screen to try to get your boy DK Metcalf in the game, pick 6.
Yeah, now here's
the nightmare.
Yeah, because let me address this, and then we're going to do another audible right quick, because I see a very good comment to go into. Of course, you got Brother Tillman, big-time Rams fan, so he says Rams win. My concern with that, because keep in mind, I got to disagree with you, my brother, unfortunately. I think the Rams are true. I mean, bottom line, Aaron Rodgers been lights out, but they do got the type of defense that would get him trouble. Not to mention the fact, Aaron Donald's coming off an injury. Then, of course, you got Jared Goff and the thumb issue.
Yeah.
So those things come into play. So bottom line, I can see a scenario where, okay, we get up on them early, then we break out the running game, then the Rams have to play catch up. Do they have the dogs fight to pull that off? That's going to be the key. Not to mention the fact that, most of these teams that's used to playing out in the warm weather areas, when they come to the Green Bays and the Buffaloes of the world, they end up having a tough time with it. So that would be my concern. But no, like I said, I could see a scenario where the Rams might pull off a possible upset. But as you know, Aaron Rodgers, he big time in Green Bay.
Yeah,
home field advantage comes into play. Even though you don't have the fans and whatnot, I think the home field advantage comes from the fact that the home is Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers got much experience playing in the cold. Jared Goff, not so much.
Yeah, even their second string quarterback got hurt, man, Wolford. So that's going to be a factor, man. Who's going to be throwing the passes in that game? And then all you need to do, with the two Smith guys, on defense, the defensive end and linebacker, is going to be trouble, man, because all they got to do is put a little pressure on Jared Goff, man, or, disrupt him or Warford or who's ever going to be, the actual guy on offense. Yeah, they got Cam Akers and he lights out, man. He's a hell of a running back, man. I don't know. That'll be enough, man. When Aaron got Devontae Adams, he got Aaron Jones, and, he even got the Aquemini St. Brown kid, man, who's been looking actually good. A lot of them kids, man, he took guys who were just regular journeymen and made them who they are right now. And a lot of people were pissed off, like, why didn't they get a receiver in the draft? But with Matt LaFleur, you don't need no receivers. You just need to respect that system. And he having an MVP year.
Well, bottom line is, yeah, he probably will be the MVP of the league. I don't care what you say about that, Hugh. They should have got the wide receiver, okay? They get
that. Man, that was a joke.
Man, if they get like Riggs that's in in Las Vegas right now, that pick as opposed to who they got, come on, man.
Man, even if they got Will Fuller
at that point.
Remember, they had Will Fuller. They could have got him, man. And they decided to go without him. Will Fuller would have blew the top off of defenses.
Right. Or they could have got Jefferson. They got to end up going to Minnesota. That would have been a good pick for them.
Man, yeah, you're right, man. They definitely could have got him. That kid, man, he broke Randy Moss' record, man.
Right. I mean, because bottom line, Love, he was a decent quarterback prospect, but you could have got a guy like him a year or two from now. Aaron Rodgers was still going to be a guy for the next 2-3 seasons. I felt like man. But anyway, hold on. Let me get back to we're about to kill. Time for audible, y'all. We about to talk about this because it's a very good point. I didn't have any idea if you're a Michigan, this is Brother Tillman again. I didn't have any idea that Michigan ex-governor who caused many to get sick, you would get arrested. But the charges revealed in an online court record are misdemeanors punishable by up to a year in jail and $1,000 fine. Because basically, his name is on it because he was the one in charge of the people in charge, in essence. So that's why they bringing him up on charges. And keep in mind, according to what they're saying, no other Michigan governor has ever been brought up on charges based on what happened during the time they was running the state. And it's a couple governors I think they probably should have been brought on some stuff. I mean, I can't help but think about I don't even like to think about his name, but he was the governor that changed everything around here. The one that changed the unemployment, the one that changed the food stamps and all that stuff. That guy, the one who ended up being the head of the regions at Michigan State, and they had to get rid of him because he was doing a bad job there. You know who I speak of, Hugh?
Not necessarily.
Like I say, I picture his face, but I don't picture his name. Sorry, folks. But yeah, the bottom line is Governor Snyder's the one that Brother Tillman's talking about right now, and they basically put him up on charges for what's going on with the Flint water crisis. They feel like he caused, basically his negligence caused part of the issue. Yeah. And for that, he got to go to court. So interesting to see how that go. But okay, back to the sports now. He should get way more time than that. Truthfully, if he is involved to that degree, if he had anything to do with them switching it up to where they got the poison water, absolutely he should get more time. He should be right there with Kwame, flat out. But okay, back to the sports here. The other Saturday game, we got the Ravens and the Bills. So what's your thoughts on that one, Hugh?
Damn, that's gonna be a good one, man, because you got that fundamentally sound team in the Bills, man. And big up to Brian Daboll, man. He's definitely gonna get a job. I'll be surprised if he don't get one this year. What he did in developing Josh Allen, I think that's gonna be a slugfest, man. But I feel like the defense of the Buffalo Bills is going to prevail. I still feel like that's a game that I'm scared about right now. I have them as a 3.5 point favor. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens win because Lamar Jackson been playing lights out. That defense stepped up. But I still feel like if I had to put the two defenses together, I still feel like the Bills is a little bit tougher. But I feel like Josh Allen can make the plays with his arm, and that's the only problem I feel like what's going on with Lamar Jackson over there. Not saying that he can't make the plays with his arm, but I just feel like sometimes Hollywood Marquise Brown, man, he let him down, man. He dropped a lot of passes, man. They need to get another guy over there at receiver and to actually take them to that next level because I feel like Marquise Brown is a good piece to it, but I don't think he's the answer. I feel like they'll have to get someone in the draft, an elite guy who can make the plays and step up in the big time situations. And that's why I feel like with Stephon Diggs, on the other hand, on that team, man, there's going to be problems. And then you got Cole Beasley, man, who's a veteran, who's proven, and Josh Brown at any time, man, can blow the top off of the team. They got a lot of nice weapons. With just Josh Brown and Cole Beasley alone, the Bills elevated their game. With Stephon Diggs, they are a threat, man, in the
Now, here's
AFC.
the thing. I think in the end, the Bills pulled this one out, but the key for the Ravens to go up in Buffalo and upset them, keep in mind, one, again, the forecast is forecasting snow in Buffalo that day too. And, as you know, the quarterback for the Ravens, he comes from Louisville. He's now in Baltimore. He ain't dealt with many snow games. He's admitted that in the press conference. So that might be a factor with him. And keep in mind, if we got snow, that's going to limit his ability to scramble. Because as you know, Jackson, the speedster, Michael Vick 2.0, a good part of his game is the fact that, okay, ain't nothing open. I'm about to make something happen with my feet. If you can't do that effectively because of the snow, that's going to dictate, in essence, that's giving them an extra defender against him. First of all. Second of all, the key for them is he likes to throw in the middle, particularly to the running back, the tight ends, things of that nature. If they could shut that down, that middle down, and then kind of contain him in the lanes between that and the snow, he's going to have a long day in Buffalo. And keep in mind, the thing is, Josh Allen's a scrambling quarterback as well, but the difference is he's not so much a elusive back, he's like a power back coming out of the backfield at the quarterback. So the snow actually plays to his advantage because in the end, he a big dude. You're going to have a hard time tackling him to begin with. But then you add that snow variant to it, it might be a big day for him on the ground and in the air. So, yeah, I definitely see the Bills pulling that out, but it should be a good game nonetheless. Okay, what we got here? Okay, no new comments, so we're going to keep it going then. So now, Sunday, the two games we got, the Buccaneers and the Saints. Now, keep in mind, they didn't play twice already this year, but, of course, that was before the chemistry's kind of hit with the Buccaneers now. So I feel like they're a slightly different team since the last time the two teams played. What you think, Hugh?
Absolutely, man. What I seen against them with Chicago, too, speaking of the Saints, I just didn't feel like they really did enough. They did it when it came close to the end of the game, but they didn't do a lot more to impress me. I feel like Chicago had a chance. It was just that drop pass, it seemed like took the fight out of them. I feel like they ran the ball when they should know some plays where they should have just did some bootlegs or do some like dink and dunk routes. And I just feel like, man, they'll have to do better if they feel like they're going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And need I say, they beat them twice, but they beat them the very first game of the season when the pandemic and everything was going on. There wasn't no OTAs. They barely got a chance to practice and get chemistry with each other. The last time they played, the defense didn't play well. And on the opposite side of the ball, New Orleans defense was getting to Tom Brady, man. And now, as you see, he only got sacked 20 times after all that happened. And I just feel like, man, it'll be hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. And with Antonio Brown emerging as the elite wide receiver he is. And then you got Mike Evans, and then you got Chris Godwin, and you got Ronald Jones, and then you got Leonard Fournette, who had the biggest game of his life in the playoffs. I would say this right now.
Don't forget about your boy Gronk now.
Man, dude, biggest red zone threat there is, man. I have them upsetting the Saints by a touchdown, man. I know people might look at me like I'm crazy. I think they're going to sneak up on them and get a 7-point. I have them as a 7-point favor, even though they saying that the Saints is a 3-point favor. But I think that they definitely could get those guys because Kamara hasn't really been practicing that much. Mike Thomas just came back. Those two are huge factors, man. And Jared Cook, man. But I just feel like Tampa Bay got enough weapons on offense that they'll be able to hang. But the factor is right now, the defense got to step up. And I seen Levante David came back, and I feel like Sue gonna have to have the game of his life. But yeah, I still feel like it's possible, man, because I didn't see a lot from the Saints, man. I really did not last week. I wouldn't be afraid of them.
Gotcha. Here's my thing. I'm kind of with you, Hugh. I can see the Buccaneers pulling this off. But see, the thing is, this is why I hate that we still dealing with this stuff in the midst of the pandemic. In the ideal world, remember, the Saints at home in this game. The home field advantage for them would have been big in this game. Superdome would have been a chain. You know how New Orleans get down during the playoff run. The place would have been packed. Party time. But that being said, that's a factor that's not a factor now.
No.
Another thing we got to remember with New Orleans, we got Drew Brees still banged up, not 100%. I mean, right at that time of year, mostly everybody's not 100%. But in the same token, we still don't know just how bad them ribs is. One good hit by Sue, and we got a whole nother ball game. But that being said, they got the type of backup that still makes this a game because Tatum Hill set up. He puts a whole different aspect on it. So hopefully when they're doing the game plan in Tampa Bay, they're preparing for both of them. Because it could be a point where they just sit Brees for a couple series and let Tatum Hill take over. And then, of course, you still got the XX factor. When you put famous Amos Jameis in the game, it might be a couple plays that they set up for him. And then, of course, they always had a possibility of the Wildcat package with either Tatum Hill, and sometimes they've run the Wildcat with your boy.
Alvin Kamara.
Exactly. So, because they have so many different things they could put in the mix, that makes it interesting. Keep in mind, they've shown most of those cards to the Buccaneers, but they still got a few left in the deck.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody got a few picks.
I still find it hard to not see the Buccaneers winning this game because they got so many weapons and they're really starting to gel now. It's really looking like that, okay, their coach is taking more of a hands-off approach and letting the GOAT Tom Brady do his thing. You know what I'm saying?
That tough love really started to play a factor too, man, because you starting to see Tom get a little bit more edgier, He throw that ball down the field now like it's no tomorrow, man, and he's been throwing it well, man. A lot of them guys, man, be wide open too. I think that's what's making Bruce upset at first. A lot of people were rushing in on Tom. Tom didn't have the time to throw it down the field like he is now because they've been keeping him relatively clean, man, and that's the X factor too. If they keep him clean, he'll do damage, but that's with any quarterback, man. But I just feel like Tampa been doing a really good job at keeping him clean, too.
Absolutely. Okay, so we got the one more game, of course, and this will be the one that interests my family. Shout out to any of y'all if y'all in the room right now. We got the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs with the best team, the best league record, the perpetual MVP. Probably not so much this year, but in the end, Mahomes, he that guy.
Every game he the MVP.
$25 million a season. He earning his money. And that being said, of course, this game is in Kansas City again. Because of COVID, not as big a factor as it would be. I do believe there will be a crowd in Kansas City. I do believe they are allowing that in Missouri, red state that it is. That's neither here nor there, mind you. But nonetheless, I don't see them playing a major factor in this game, but it could. I'm not quite sure what the weather's supposed to be like in Kansas City this weekend, so I don't know if that's going to be a factor or not. It shouldn't be for a Cleveland team that's used to playing in Cleveland, man. That said, let's remember, Cleveland kind of barely got in the playoffs to begin with. And then they play a Pittsburgh team, but they motorboat them. That score was way out of hand. It shouldn't have even been as close as it was because they dominated, particularly in that first half. But that being said, they're not about to do that with KC. It ain't happening. What you think?
Okay, that defense is neither. It's not going to happen. You ain't going to be able to get to Mahomes, and you're not going to be able to rush him because if you try to rush in on him, he's going to run it 30, 40 yards. He got track stars on his team. He got the best tight end in the game with Travis Kelce. Man, then you turn around and you could get beat by my man's Hill, Tyreek Hill to burn you. You still got Sammy Watkins, who hasn't been doing as much, but then he still got a little speed to him. McCall Hardman is a track star. You know, Robinson is a track star. You know, you got so many weapons over there with him, man, and he just makes it work, man. I think Le'Veon Bell to be definitely the starting running back right now because I know Hilaire been hurt for a while now, man. It was just a really tough injury for them because they really didn't need Le'Veon Bell, but then it was smart that they picked him up because you always got to have insurance. This is his time to shine, man. Even if he don't stay with Kansas City, I feel like this is where he can make his paycheck at for his next team. So I definitely think that he's going to do enough, but just Patrick Mahomes alone, man, with those weapons he got, man, they can outrun and outscore any team and put up any numbers against them. They're not going to go to Kansas City and do that, man. I feel like I got Kansas City by 10.5.
And like I said, I can see this becoming a route too, because remember, the big key in this game going to be two things. One, remember, Le'Veon Bell not only a good runner of the football, but a good backfield as well. So you got that a factor. And then, of course, you got the man that every team in the league that had problems dealing with this year, young Travis Kelce. Best tight end in football by numbers at this point. So, you know, you got all those different factors to come into play. I don't think they got enough defenders to contend with all the possibilities and scenarios that they can put up there in Kansas City. In the end, I can see Kansas City getting up early, and after that, it's track star time. So they get up by 3-4 touchdowns because Cleveland don't have the weapons like Kansas City do. I don't see them making up that deficit. I see this one getting out of hand.
They would have definitely needed an old Dale in this game at the most.
Hold on, Hugh, look who checked in. This guy right here, my guy Pride Hunter. What up, Pride? The Pistons put me to sleep, keeping me from getting here earlier. But did I miss the NBA talk? Yeah, you missed some of it. But again, this game time audible. So let's call the audible, Hugh. Kill. Let's go into it. Back to the NBA, y'all. So back to the jam sessions. Here we are. Let's see what's going on right now. We refreshing and we find out, the Pistons lost again to the Bucks.
Yeah.
I stopped watching the Pistons these last few games because all they doing is playing the Bucks and getting their butt whooped. Man. And plus I knew that my guy wasn't playing tonight. The young point guard extraordinaire out of Chicago. So without him, keeping in mind that we already got the rookie hurt.
Yeah. That was a minus.
You know, without J. Rose, I just did not see it happening, bro. I'm surprised that we only lost by 9, to be honest. I mean, granted, the team is scrappy, okay? It's a scrappy young bunch, and you can see where the development is coming into play. Jay Grant, he earning his money, man. People was wondering why you pay that dude that type of money. But, yeah, he's showing himself to be almost damn near all-pro level from what we've seen out of him so far. But that being said, the team with the worst record in the league is the Detroit Pistons right now. So it don't come as a big surprise to me. And some of the other games we got going, okay, the Lakers, they still whooping up on the Thunder. They up by 28. And that one's a done deal pretty much. We got the Grizzlies. They lose to the Timberwolves by 8. Again, without because ain't Ja out right now?
I thought Ja was injured.
Yeah, so that being said, and them 2 lottery teams, as far as I'm concerned, ain't no sense even discussing them.
No.
And we got the Nets and the Knicks. Nets only up by 10 on the Knicks. Now keep in mind, don't sleep on the Knicks. They've been
doing good.
Absolutely.
You got Julius Randle who been balling.
there.
And then, man, that team just been looking really good, man. I definitely was surprised too, man. I feel like Austin Rivers found him a home too because he could contribute, man. And yeah, I just feel like that's been a team that creeped up on me who I didn't think would be doing that well. I thought they'd have been like Pistonish, but no, man, they excelled, man, and they've been really doing really good, man.
That I've seen in a couple games I watched with them, Randall, who of course was with the Lakers at one point. I knew that dude was going to be a good NBA player. He just had to come into his own and understand that, okay, the game was changing and you needed to adapt to it. Keep in mind, when he's coming out of Kentucky, that's right around when the league started having more of the big men go out and shooting the perimeter or whatnot. But, he still had some old school game, but he had some of the new game too. But he was incorporating too much of that old school when he was with the Lakers. That's why at times he would be dominant with them and have some good games. But on the other hand, if it was a running gun type game, he would kind of disappear. Now it seems like New York is more his speed, where they got a lot of nice half-court sets and whatnot. But in the same token, he's also improved his perimeter shot. So that's made him more of a factor overall.
I almost forgot about the boy over there too, man. RJ Barrett, man, that guy's nice, man, and he stepped up his game too. But it was like some of the pieces they got when they first got Julius Randle. I was like, okay, what's this all about? What the Knicks trying to do? I still don't understand. I was confused at first, but then when you see him excel, then you got RJ Barrett, and you got all these guys that's coming together, man, and they're a scrappy team, man, and they're above 500. Surprised the heck out of me. And I just feel like, man, they got some nice chemistry over there, man. Actually, I take that back now. Let me audible myself. They're a game under 500 now.
Okay. So, yeah, like I said, I'm interested to see how they play out over there in New York. But, okay, we got Will in the house. What's going on with Muhammad? They are young. I don't watch because I'm looking for a win. I like how the Pistons are. Like I said, in the end, it's kind of a hard product to watch to an extent, the Pistons. But you see them working, though. You see where the plan is with it. Keep in mind, in the ideal world, we got Blake there, we got young D Rose there, but in the end, they just placeholding right now. They showing the young people how to carry themselves as NBA players, but ultimately, I think the plan is for them to eventually get moved on to where they get moved on to, and this young core that we got going, work with them. I like the stuff that Casey did in Toronto, one of those situations. Then you bring in your big piece or two to kind of help them out, and then we go back to being in contention. But it's a project that's going to take a while. I mean, bottom line is the Pistons going to take a lot of lumps, particularly when they're playing more of the teams in their division than outside in the usual spaces because of COVID. So we got to see them play Milwaukee a lot of times and whatnot. That's going to be a lot of L's, flat out. What you think, Hugh?
Yeah, they took a plethora of L's with them, man. It was really bad, but at the same time, them kids are scrappy. They still trying to fight and give it they all, man. I'm just really happy about that. I just feel like right now, like you said, you can see where they're trying to go. You can see the direction because I was confused with our direction last year, even a couple of years before. They try to add pieces to a team who wasn't really as dominant, but they tried to get butts in the seat with, the Blake Griffins and some of the people they tried to bring over to the team. But now I just feel like they're trying to get rid of a lot of the older people and they're trying to rebuild. I know it's tough because, D Rose shouldn't have to be in a rebuilding stage. Blake don't deserve it neither. We talked about that too. I don't see Blake being around that long. I think eventually he'll get traded. There's a possibility they might do the same thing with Derrick Rose. But right now, it's good to have his veteran presence with our point guards. And for as far as Blake Griffin, man, he's just there right now. Like he's going to be a Passover piece. I think that we're trying to get leverage with a trade with him and say, okay, we'll give you Blake, give us a first and second round, or give us another pick into that and try to build on the future. But yeah, I don't really see him being there. I give it after like the All-Star break. He might be gone.
I mean, bottom line is it all depends on how healthy we could keep Blake between now and then and how greedy some of these other teams might be to try to win the championship. Because again, clearly the Lakers is the cream of the crop right now on the West side. And now, of course, we got the big trade, and that's what Pride's asking what you think of the big trade. We talked about it earlier, Pride, but there is an aspect of that I want to get into. keep in mind, because this is a player-driven league more so than any of the other leagues, we got situations now where we see the main players dictating what goes on in terms of being dealt with. You know, what James Harden did, basic person A in the league can't pull off. You can't just be like, well, I just won't play, and I don't like my team, and you need to trade me here and here and here, or I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Most players in the league, they don't have that KD to say that type of stuff and make it work out to their benefit. Another thing you got to remember is, you know, because these guys got relationships outside the court, that have been friends since like not even high school, junior high school. Remember, we got all the Nike camps and the travel leagues and whatnot. So these kids have known each other since they had peach fuzz on their face. So, you know, when they want to get together and make a scenario where they all play together and hang out and whatnot, it's kind of hard to keep them from that in this league, the way it's set up right now with the bigger players having that type of freedom. Hold on, we got Coach V in the house. What's up, Coach V? What's going on? He said D Rose will be a good trade to the Nets. Now, here's the thing. The problem I got with that, Coach, is the fact that, okay, now we got KD, we got Kyrie, and we got Harden. Basically, three people that can be ball dominant if necessary. Now, they're going to have to work out that chemistry issue amongst the three of them. And keep in mind, another key part of that trade that I did not mention was Caris LeVert. Caris LeVert was in that trade, and in the end, I kind of feel bad for Caris, but I feel good for him at the same time. Because on the one hand, they basically had him coming off the bench and whatnot, and the thing was he was a starter before, you know, them two took over this year. And the thing is, where he's going now, he should be able to get back to that point because, you know, before he got hurt last year, LeVert was looking real good coming out of Michigan, you know? And Cleveland, he basically wasn't being developed properly. You know, the Nets, they allowed him to flourish and do himself. So now where he's going, and let me see, I got to remember that because I don't remember it offhand. Pull out the handy dandy notes to see what Caris LeVert went. Caris LeVert's with the Pacers now. So keep in mind, now that Oladipo was gone from there, that's an ideal place for LeVert to spread his wings. He could be the man there in Indianapolis, I think. Him along with Miles, you know? Man. But now the thing is, if you add somebody like D Rose to the mix of all that, now you got, okay, so who's going to be your point guard? In an idea where you're not about to trade D Rose for Kyrie Irving, that's not going to happen. And in the end, you don't want no malcontent like D Rose here. And I mean, like Kyrie here, because clearly he's sensitive. And it's only certain things he like a certain way. I mean, bottom line, he was playing with LeBron James and couldn't deal with it. Couldn't deal with being second banana. Although, of course, you got to know now that you got Kevin Durant there with the Nets, you still second banana, bro. Yep. Durant is that guy. Please know that, sir. But nonetheless, yeah, I definitely see a possibility that D Rose get traded. I just don't think it's going to be to a team like the Nets per se. I mean, you got any ideas where you think you would trade D Rose to?
Man, you know what? That's a good question, man. I would probably have him as a piece to go somewhere, probably on the West Coast, man. I would do it to a team. I'm showing a little bias because I do like this team. I would basically have him in a team where he won't really start, but he'll get a lot of good minutes, you know, or like to help the second team. I would say like a Dallas Mavericks or somewhere.
See, let me think outside the box for you a little bit, Hugh. I could see D Rose going to a place like Golden State. Remember, they got Thompson out for the rest of the year still. You got now, granted, yeah, he's your point guard, but in the same token, the key factor that he brings to the game is his shooting ability. So yeah. Take D Rose, basically make him 6-man / second guard to where at times you have him in the game and give Steph a rest. But on other times you had them two playing together to where D Rose is the point guard and you set Steph Curry at the corners to hit the threes. You got something going there. Not to mention in the middle and D Rose good at penetrating and getting to the big man. I think that'd be a good move for them myself. Man, okay, prior to saying, I feel the chemistry in Brooklyn, particularly with a first-time coach dealing with egos, and all three of them need the ball, will be a disaster come playoff time. I mean, bottom line is, I know they all friends and stuff outside of the court, but I'm really having a struggle seeing Kyrie and James Harden coexisting. Because as you know, James Harden now, he done played with some of the best guards in the league, okay? He done been with Chris Paul. He done been with Westbrook. Who am I missing here? I basically didn't play with John Wall. You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason, them three scenarios didn't work out to his liking. So now you got him and Kyrie. In the end, the fourth quarter comes. Who's getting the ball? Can you tell me, Hugh, who's gonna get the ball in the fourth quarter for that squad?
I think the question is, Durant gonna want to get that big shot. James Harden and Kyrie, man, they gonna have to basically make that decision, man. They're gonna have to be like when the Miami Heat were playing and D Wade was the man in Miami, and D Wade had to take the step back and say, okay, LeBron, you the man, this is your team, because that's what hurt them that first year, because they didn't have that chemistry. But now that they can have that opportunity, I feel like they can make the best out of that, but they got to figure out who's gonna be the man first before they do anything.
Okay, now here's the thing, Hugh. I'm actually gonna call an audible here because something interesting going on. Now, granted, this is a sport that a lot of people may not necessarily be into here on the broadcast, but it's a reason why I bring it up. And we go into our hockey minutes. Now, keep in mind, not a huge hockey fan myself, mind you, but
not at all.
They got the league set up. I feel it's very interesting this year. That's why I want to talk about it. Here's the thing. Of course, the NHL started tonight. Okay, I'm going to quickly look at the scores right quick, see if I see anything of quick interest. No, basically typical stuff. Lightning, the team that won the Stanley Cup, they beat the Blackhawks 4-0. But nonetheless, here's the thing: the way the league is set up in the NHL this year, they got 5 basic groupings. Okay, so there's 5 divisions, and the teams are only going to play the teams in their division this year. There will be no inter squad play or inter league play. So in other words, the 7 teams that's in your division, you only playing those teams. And it's like, I believe it's a 62-game season with the NHL. So basically, you're going to play only those teams 62 times. You're not going to go outside of your division at all. The playoffs, when they start, the first 2 rounds are going to be interdivision. So in other words, you may not play another team outside of your division till like the 3rd or 4th round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now, the reason why I find that interesting is because keep in mind, one of those quadrants, one of those divisions is where all the Canadian teams are. So all the Canadian teams are playing in one division. So they're only going to play the other Canadian teams all season. And what happens is when you go to the playoffs and had a division round, in the end, the one team that's left out of the Canadian division, they only got 3 other teams to play in order to get to the Stanley Cup. Now, remember, even though Canada hockey is king and whatnot, ain't nobody from the Canadian side of the border won a Stanley Cup in almost 30 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So how big would that be for a Canadian team based on that circumstance to pull it off and win them a Stanley Cup for the Canadians? What you think, Hugh?
They already in hockey town, man, but I feel like that'd be good for them because a lot of the guys who are winning championships in the NHL, man, got a lot of Canadian background and Canadian people on their team. So, yeah, that'd definitely be interesting. But I think that's a smart move, too. Big ups to the NHL to even do that because other places could do that. The NFL, the MLB, they all can take this and they can, look at that and say, this is how we need to do our league. But I just don't feel like they want to do that. I feel like that's a smart thing to keep them safe. And it'll be entertaining, too, because you do all the inner leagues and then you get down to the last teams and then you could go to a championship round. And I feel like that's going to be different. They're going to mix it up. And I like that. Who don't like somewhat of a change, but to mix it up and at the same time be safe, I think that's an awesome idea. I think that's a really good platform, and a lot of teams should take that anyway in consideration, not just the NHL, but the basketball and football too.
Well, so here's the thing. The way most of the leagues are set up, half the teams you play are whatever division, interracial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Nonetheless, what it is half your season you playing your rivals, the other half you're not. In the ideal world, I would not mind seeing where most of the time in the season you playing just your rival teams, and then every now and then you sprinkle in some of the people outside of your thing. Because in the end, remember, most of the leagues also set up to where those last few weeks of the season you only playing your rivals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that leads to some good scenarios. because if you playing and the team you playing, y'all just 1 or 2 games behind each other in the standings, and them last 2 games is against each other. I'll say what happened with the Steelers and Browns, for instance.
Yeah.
That's what makes for some of the best games. So it's definitely something I think other leagues should look into. Most definitely. That's why I brought it up. Okay, we got to get one more little thing in here. We're going to talk a little college sports, just a little bit. We call it in that segment College Campus Cafe. So we're going to get into it. Here's a problem. Again, because of COVID, folks, we got issues. Let's look at the top 25 tonight, for instance. Keep in mind, we got the top 25 men and women, because, yeah, we are going to talk women's sports on this show, absolutely. Because one of my favorite teams is them UConn Lady Huskies. And they undefeated, as you know, and been playing some good ball. Coach Oriental got them going pretty good, but here's the problem. Every time we get on the road, Captain Kobe come take over. First 4 games of the season for the UConn Lady Huskies, no games, all COVID issues. So they didn't even play the first 4 games. Then they get rolling. Then about 3-4 games in, 2 more cancellations. Not playing again. Now they get back and they start to get into their conference season. But, of course, because UConn is set up the way it is, they usually go outside and play some of the best teams in the country, one of them being Baylor. Go to play that game? Nope, not going to happen. COVID. So they play another game or 2. Now, they're going to miss the next 2 games, COVID related. So how do you get on some type of role or understanding, particularly with a young team like UConn is right now, when the COVID situation keeps coming into play?
Yeah, that sucks too. Because those girls, man, they're elite, man. And, that's all you hear about is, UConn, the Lady Huskies, man, they got a strong program over there. But when you can't play all your games, that's the only reason I feel like they rank number 4, because they won all the games. That Baylor game would have been a really good X factor too, man. But it's just unfortunate, man. It'll be hard, but I feel like they will be able to catch up with Stanford, the Louisville and North Carolina State, the ones who played 3 extra games. I just feel like that's hard right now. The COVID's really putting the factor on everything. It's just like, we're still there, man. And you just got to take the protocols to do whatever you got to do. And, if you don't be safe, that's the issue, man, because that spreads. People can get sick, and then you got to get more games canceled. 4 games is a lot of games.
The thing that really bothers me is the fact that most of these college campuses, they're not doing in-class learning. They got mostly online. So most of the main people on some of these campuses are the athletes. And despite that, we still got COVID issues. They spread it amongst themselves. So,
really
right now, like I said, tonight, they canceled number 3 Xavier, COVID. Canceled number 14, Illinois versus Nebraska, COVID. If I remember right, Michigan's next game going to be canceled because of COVID. The women's team that had a couple games canceled, COVID. And women's basketball, same thing. UConn, Baylor, Ohio State, COVID issues. So 2 of those games not being played. Ohio State basically going to play with a skeleton crew. So that takes away, particularly in the women's game where 1 or 2 players make a major difference in some of these spots. So if you got a COVID issue and one of those players don't play, it may change the whole course of not only that game, but some of the games to follow. So yeah, that's the hard part of doing the college in particular, because in the end, these people, they're not being compensated for being safe and doing all these protocols so that y'all can make the money for the colleges. Because in the end, you don't have no crowds. They've been actually pretty good in NCAA basketball in terms of their COVID protocols with crowds. Some of them, they've had like the family and friends there, but I haven't seen any schools yet that had a nice little size crowd. And then another thing, folks, in Boston, because of the protocols they got going in Massachusetts in particular, Boston University, when they play, and that goes for them or the team they're playing at that moment, if they're in Boston University, they have to be fully masked the whole time, including when they're playing. So I saw some of that game. It was really, really strange to see people playing basketball in full mask. And, of course, the mask falling off and some of the kids holding it on, not wearing it properly. So is we really getting out of that what we want from that?
It'd be hard to do that too, to play with a mask. You'd be so fatigued, man. It's already people who got asthma, different, complications. That'll be hard to do, man. I just feel like they shouldn't have to play with masks, but at the same time, I respect the reasons why they want to. But yeah, they have to take COVID tests randomly, so I don't think that that should be something that they should put in place. But at the same time, if that's what makes them feel comfortable, man, which we all don't feel comfortable with it, is if that's what they want them to do, man, we'll see how it works. But if it don't work, we got to go to plan B. I think it'll complicate things as far as their breathing and them running up and down the court, man. You might pass out in the mask, man. That'll be hard. But at the same time, if people want to keep sports going on and they want to avoid the COVID from happening, they're going to have to go to the extremes.
Right. Yeah, probably said, damn, mask while playing my own breath will put me down. Actually, a YouTube video that look for Boston University mask play, and you'll see it. It's weird. I mean, just looking at, and this is, during protocol and a pandemic where weird things is happening in terms of sports. But that was one of the weirdest sporting events out of any of them I've seen so far.
Man, you'd be so dehydrated, man. I don't want to do that.
I mean, for us that go to work and, be out and about with a mask on for like an hour or two at a time. By the time I get home, I'll be so thirsty, lips dry, all that stuff. So imagine all that with the sweat going on and everything. And that's a lot. Both of them are very selfish, talking about Kyrie and Harden. I'll be shocked if it works, and even if Kyrie is there come playoff time. And then there's that possibility, because in the end, you got 3 superstars. They all playing. But in the end, you got a lot of money invested in them 3 players alone. At some point, you got to at least consider that possibility if the chemistry thing ain't working out. Keep in mind, it's a reason why Harden is saying I want to go in New Jersey. Clearly, they didn't have discussions about how that looks and what that looks like. But in the same token, you're supposed to be getting coached by your coach. But on a lot of these superstar driven teams, that ain't the case. I mean, because bottom line, the Lakers, they got a coach. But do they though?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, Hugh, but I think the Lakers coach is not anybody sitting on that bench. It's that guy named LeBron.
Yeah, absolutely.
I say the Lakers GM ain't nobody sitting in that office. Also, it's that guy named LeBron.
Yeah, he definitely goes on that team, man, because he's a good basketball player and he's a general on the court, man. He got so many, identification. Well, he identified with my man. His identity looks like Magic Johnson in a way. A lot of people compare him to Michael Jordan, but his vision for a big man and for him to be able to play the point guard and take over a game or slow down the tempo and involve his teammates, incredible, man. You got to give that guy props for his size and how good he is.
Me or Mr. Lee, we ain't never been no professional athlete, no organized college sports athlete, but we have played the games as children in high school and whatnot. So let me tell you, when you basically see LeBron operate and basically you see him like 2 and 3 steps to everybody else on the court, some of the passes he makes and the windows that he makes them, you can't help but be impressed by that. Not to mention the fact that being a person that size, playing all those minutes over all these years and still to be that effective in a game full of athletes similar to yourself, and at times not only be effective still at 36, but dominant at times when you choose to be. You can't help but admire and respect that.
Yeah, he definitely still at the top of his game.
Yeah, Brother Tillman saying LeBron, player, coach, GM, and minority owner. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it works for him, not to mention the face of the league on top of all that. Because when all is said and done, when they want to know how the NBA players feel about certain things, when the first people get that microphone to their face, LeBron, how you feel about social injustice? How you feel about president impeachment? I'm sure he'll have some comments on that tonight after the game in regards to the impeachment today. And I'm actually going to end it with that particular discussion on the way out the door. But hold on, let me get this. I used to argue with your little brother, that being my little brother Jay, that LBJ was more Magic than MJ. And yeah, I've had that discussion with him too. So I know what that was like. Dude didn't listen. I know he didn't listen. But anyway, okay, we about to head out. But first, we want to discuss one last topic, not necessarily sports related. We got to talk about what happened today with the impeachment. Now, here's the thing, y'all. It's sad that we have come to this point in our democracy. in the middle of the pandemic. Let's not forget that part, because we got that's such a bigger issue than any of the other things going on, and it's often getting put to the side because of some of this other foolishness that we're dealing with. Bottom line, that man got one more week to be in office. So on the one hand, I'm looking like it's kind of a waste of time, y'all. It's a little too late. We impeached Fool once. He ended up staying. There's that part. But then on the other hand, you have to look at that crime in particular he's being impeached for. He literally made comments that damn near set off a civil war. It still might. We don't know. The FBI coming up with different reports every day about what's going on, man. In the end, we could be looking at a situation where Wednesday, it might not be safe to leave out your door, period, regardless of where you are in the country. They're saying all 50 states should be on high alert, particularly if you live anywhere near the capital of these states. Washington, D.C., shout out to my girl Leah, please be safe, because she worked right down the street from the Capitol and the White House. So, yeah, we got the inauguration next week, but right now, we're in a bad place in America. I'm glad Pastor Tillman said, please keep praying for us, Pastor Tillman, because I feel like, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. So in the end, yeah, I understand why they went to impeach him again, and, you know, we'll have the Senate trial after the inauguration, of course, and be wasting valuable taxpayers' dollars money that probably could go to COVID relief, truthfully, to impeach somebody who already should have been removed from office in the first place, in my personal opinion. But in the end, we got to understand, outside of this world of sports that we're talking about, there are other bigger issues to contend with, and unfortunately, this is one of them. What's your thoughts on it, Hugh?
Just really feel bad, man, that all this is going on, like you said, during the pandemic, in a time where we should be definitely trying to be at home and address safety, that we have to impeach a so-called president who caused a lot of democracy and caused a lot of the problems that's going on right now. And he know what he was doing, man. You know, he got the Proud Boys and all these groups. And what makes me upset with the Black Lives Matter, he looked at that and felt like that was a disgrace and that was something that should never happen. And he had like tons of National Guards and people protecting the White House. But when this happened, you could definitely tell he had his hands in on that for this to happen and to break out as bad as it was, you know. But it's just that all the things that he's done as the president, man. And the first time he got impeached, I didn't really have no faith in it because I feel like he shouldn't even be in office in the first place right now. And all this stirred up just from him doing whatever he wanted to do and it being allowed, man. You know, if it was someone else, they would have been in jail by now, man. I just don't feel like that's the way that we should go in this country, man. And I don't definitely be feeling safe sometimes. And I feel like we all need to take that precaution in general because a lot of people didn't know what he was capable of, but you had to be crazy to not believe that he was capable of doing what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
It's really sad for our United States to be so divided.
I mean, bottom line is I hope that when Biden finally does get in office next week, that we really do start to move away from some of this stuff. And, you know, granted, it's still going to be these problems and these people still exist, but hopefully they go back into some of the caves and crevices that they came from and not feel like they are empowered to do some of these evil, hateful things that they have done over the course of the last 4 years. With that being said, we about to get out of here. Of course, I got to give a shout out to my people in the Nighthawk Network. Nighthawk Network, our voices, our people. Of course, that does consist of myself and Mr. Lee here, but some of my other broadcast partners as well. We got my peoples here. Hold on. Pushed the wrong button. My bad, y'all. Hey, bitches with the hologram. Shout out to you, H2. She also does the remix with your boy Derek. You can catch that show in particular, Hey Bitches, 9 p.m. on Monday. But you can catch the remix basically whenever Derek is in the room, decides it's time to kick it. So let's talk about it. He does that. You got Monumental Moments in God's Word with my cousin, Dr. Marla Facey, on Thursday nights. Please check that out. Dish Tea with Big Meech, who was in the room earlier. Shout out to you, Big Meech, if you're still listening. We got Aunt Nikki and the big guy, Ally Big Red. Shout out to you, Big Red. We got Stan Mason behind the blue curtain. That is the brother that was on the show last night with me as well. Shout out to you, Stan, for catching this live on the remix. We also have one of his co-hosts in the house with Pastor Tillman. Thank you for your input in the show, Pastor Tillman. I appreciate it. Let's talk about Nikki, her interview series. Hopefully you guys check that out. We got my cousin Girl Stop, her audio podcast. Again, I will be doing my audio podcast this week as well. We got Pastor Sean Love Presents, some of his YouTube series about his Bible lessons that I definitely want you guys to check out. And then, of course, we got my man Hugh Lee. We got his blog. Tell me about your blog, Hugh.
Pure to the game, man. All things, everything sports, man. It's great, man. Most times, like he told y'all before in the past, most times I get the news 5 minutes before it even hit ESPN, man. I definitely try to be on top of everything, and I just don't stick with one sport. I try to stick with everything that's going around in sports, man. Try to make sure that y'all updated on there, and check it out, man. It's on my Facebook page, Pure to the Game. Definitely like it, man. And I feel like if y'all have any comments or suggestions, definitely feel free to ask and let me know what's going on, man. Because it's just like he said, this is our show. That's y'all blog page, man. Whatever y'all feel like is necessary, what y'all want me to put on there, let me know. And definitely don't be shy, because I'll do whatever y'all need me to do. I'm trying to do what I could to interact more with the fans and to make it a better page as well.
And we want to make this a better show also. So keep in mind, this is our sports show, as in all of us in the network, not just me and Hugh. So, if we talked about a lot of the sports that you like to talk about, want to hear more of that, let us know. We didn't talk enough about your sport that you like to hear about, let us know that as well. If you want us to get into some of your other stuff, like I said, we'll do the research. We'll be able to kick it with you about your sport. So by all means, you're going to let us know by hitting us up in the messenger, or, hitting us on Facebook if you're on the Nighthawk Network, or on our personal pages as well. Keep in mind, when you look to want to share these broadcasts with people, what we suggest you do is go to my YouTube. My YouTube is Eric Buckner, Nighthawk Network Detroit, and share it with them that way. And also have them, as well as yourself, like and subscribe to the page, along with any of my other partners in the Nighthawk Network that I've mentioned. Mr. Hugh Lee, we are in the process of getting his YouTube together, so next week you'll be able to access his as well. So please do that for us. We would appreciate it. That being said, it's time to head on out, y'all. This has been not Get Off My Lawn Live bonus edition. It is now Game Time Audible. So look for us next week about this time to talk some more sports with you guys. Thank you all who have tuned in. Thank you all who will catch this on the later broadcast. Feel free to comment. We will get back to you with them. We do that here. So until next time, y'all please be safe. Please be safe. As my guy Stan Mason from Behind the Blue Curtain always says, life is not a Trump rally. Please wear your mask. Because in the end, these vaccines and whatnot going to take time. Getting everything back to some sense of normalcy going to take time. Please be safe until then if you can, please.
And
yes,
that's all.
Brad. And we will end it with that. Great show and peace. Again, this has been Get Off My Lawn bonus edition / Game Time Audible. Next week, it will be Game Time Audible. It will have its own ending, but until then, we will do the usual Get Off My Lawn outro ending. I'm glad you guys tuned in. Till next time, thank you, Hugh, as always, brother. Last word is yours.
Thank you all for the support, man. Thank you for always making us sharp, man, when we do the show. Appreciate all the comments, man. They were awesome comments, man. Kept us on our toes, man. Definitely appreciate everyone who's tuning in and listening. And, much love to the Nighthawk Network, man. And feel free for anyone who's on my Facebook page, Pure to the Game, or just my page, Hugh Lee on Facebook. Tune in to the show, man. We're going to do it every Wednesday, 8:30. Thank you.
Absolutely, y'all. Till next time. Peace.